But it's time to go back now to non-football and talk about what's going to happen in the next few days in Nigeria. It is the 2025 Nigerian University Games, known as NUGA. It officially kicks off today at the University of Jos, marking a start of another exciting chapter in collegiate sports. Now, thousands of athletes from across the country are set to compete at various disciplines as fans gear up for days of intense rivalry and, of course, school pride. However, this year's event takes place with one of its most consistent participants. The University of Unilorin, for the first time since 1976. Unilorin will not feature in the games, despite qualifying after finishing fourth overall in 2022 edition. Reports indicate that the institution opted out due to lack of sponsorship support for the delegation. We also hear that they might actually make a U-turn, and that's because team sports might not actually go on, but individual sports might be sent to represent the school. But joining us to talk about this developing issue is a sports journalist, one, of course, who is resident in Ilorin, Kwara State. Dare Kuti joins us this afternoon. Dare, good afternoon to you. Thank you very much for joining.
Yes, good afternoon. And it's a pleasure to be on the show this afternoon.
All right. The University of Jos is hosting this year's games, and there's already lots of excitement across campuses from your past experience in past editions. What makes the NUGA Games special? And what's really big about the NUGA Games when you talk about the NUGA Games?
Well, whether we like it or not, NUGA Games is one of the biggest sporting gathering in Nigeria, aside from the National Sport Festival and from the National Youth Games. You discover that most of the athletes who are in school or who are top athletes in Nigeria currently in the universities to further their education, while some are in the polytechnic. But for the NUGA Games, you see that athletes who are in their top form, who got scholarship from being, let's say, one of the best athletes at the youth games, go ahead to represent these schools. And this is because there's been talks ongoing that athletes must mix education and sports together. One of these athletes that I've always identified that has always done good in the NUGA Games and also did well for Nigeria is one of the karate athletes, Ujunwa Wanko. She has been one of the outstanding NUGA athletes over the years. She was in school while competing for Nigeria and many others like that. So this year's edition is going to churn out athletes, and hopefully they get to represent Nigeria at the World University Games in the next edition.
All right, Dare Kuti, one of the big talking points is Unilorin's absence, their first ever since 1976. But we also got a recent update that individual sports might actually be sent to Jos. But what do you have? What's your information on this development? University of Ilorin, they're a powerhouse when it comes to NUGA Games, and not having its presence, what does it mean for university sports?
Well, I'll say it's a very, very sad development. Immediately I heard of this news, I reached out to the authorities who I'm very, very close to, and they gave me reasons. The reason they cited is due to the security challenges in the Middle Belt. We should know that University of Ilorin are one of the most, will I say, schools that do not play with NUGA. And you'll not forget in a hurry that the University of Ilorin also hosted the West African University Games in 2012. So Unilorin an institution that, will I say, invests in the NUGA Games. And this coming out now is a sad one, but security first, because I learned 12 teams actually qualified. They are presenting 12 teams to the NUGA Games, but unfortunately the school management are taking the security of their athletes first. You might say, okay, other teams are going and nothing happens to them, but you know the way random attacks happen. So the university authorities will I say taking the security measures seriously, but hopefully if one or two things become works out for them, like you said, they might present the individual sports to represent instead of the team events.
All right, Dare Kuti, I must say a big thank you to you. We hope that, schools, yes, security first, because once there's a security alert. We know that athletes and the athletes' welfare and, of course, well-being will be prioritized. But we just hope that we'll have to find a way around it, that, sports thrive in our varsities and, of course, have these schools represent. But I want to say a big thank you to you. We're looking forward to you again when the games, gets more and more intense.
Thank you very much, and I'll be available to make one or two input, and hopefully the athletes, let's say, do well and get selected for subsequent competition, including the African Games and so on.